So this is one of the latest versions of trying to debunk the retrograde, or it's really a trochoidal loop. Now you can see right here that, let me pause. This is supposed to be Mars, but Mars is orbiting it doesn't show it, but that would be the sun. The sun going around Earth as Mars goes around the sun. And as you can see, that's two radiuses. There's this from here to the sun, that's one circle, so there's one radius, and then there's the radius there between the sun and Mars. So in order to have a trochoid pattern, you've got to have two radiuses. It doesn't have to be in a circular orbit, but it has to be at least two radiuses. It could be a wheel rolling across the ground. But here you can see you've got Mars circling while it rotates. You can see it moves, and it'll catch up here in a minute with the body it orbits, and then it'll overtake it. So it's moving faster than the parent body. It has to be, or it won't make a loop. Now what he's saying right there is that the motion is counterclockwise. So he's saying it's going west to east. He's calling it west to east. As the satellite orbits the primary body, the relationship between the two bodies will change at some point, and this is why it becomes a trochoid, why it becomes a loop, as you'll see right now, because it's tangential to the center. So when it gets to an extreme, which is going to be closest to the center, because remember, that's orbiting, that's the center, that's the orbiting parent. So as it gets as close as it'll get to the center, that's an extreme. That's where the tangential velocity goes to zero, and it will become the opposite direction. That's why it makes a loop. So now you can see, now right there, the direction of the parent is this way, but the direction of the satellite is the opposite. So that's a tangential velocity right there. It goes to zero. The linear velocity doesn't change, it's constant, but the tangential velocity does change. So right there it goes to zero, forms the loop, which causes the retrograde. You can see he points that out, which is good. Right there, as you can always see, a retrograde loop will always be perigee, the closest point to the center of the orbit. It could be on the extremes. In the case of the planets, it's towards the middle part. It could be the opposite side in a different scenario, but here it's the closest point, the closest approach to the planet, which is the center of the orbit of the parent. And so that gives you that's the perigee of the planet Mars or Venus or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. So that's where the loop forms always. What he's going to do, he's saying that this is equal to this, which I'll explain is wrong, because right now you've got one motion. In other words, there's only one radius in this model. So you've got one body circling a center. You've got one body circling a center. Now he's going to really try to convolute this to confuse you. But watch what happens. I've got this slowed down. I've got this slowed down like 0.25, and I've got that slowed down all the way. Again, because he's doing this so fast, so you won't be able to tell what's going on. But watch what happens. Now he's put a sun here. Now he's put he's incorporated the sun, but remember the sun is here. That's the parent that Mars is orbiting. You can see the path of Mars. So its radius, or its circle, is centered on this. This is centered on that. He's throwing this in here for the sake of confusion. Now watch, you can see this has nothing to do with this, but he's trying to confuse you right here. Now notice I've got this slowed down completely. I can't slow this down anymore. So he's trying to do this in a quick hurry. So what we're seeing here is the sun is circling Earth, which has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on out here, where you see these tracings, where the path is traced. So this is still happening. That would be the sun. He's putting the sun here for confusion, but let's watch it. And as you can see, Mars is still orbiting that point, and that point still orbits the Earth. This would just be, that's just an extraneous yellow dot. Now what he's going to do now is very shady, really, because now he's going to, alright, he's done away with the tracings, and now what he's doing is he's stopped the Mars planet motion. Now it's stationary, frozen, it's paused. But right now this is going to be orbiting this, and you'll see Earth will be orbiting that too. He's still got these circles out here, but they're irrelevant at the moment. Now you're going to see it's just going to make a circle, because that's all it is. It's just one radius. He's keeping these in here, but they're not relevant to anything anymore. All that's happening at this point is there's a circle. Just a trick, it's a gimmick. But you don't have to pay any attention to any of these circles, because they don't have any relevance anymore. So all you're going to see is a circle. And see, what he's going to tell you is that the retrogrades, the loops, you don't see them now because the vantage point has changed. Well, that's just a lie. He's taken away the second orbit, because that would have been, this would be the first, now this would be the first orbit here. There's one radius, there's one circular orbit right there, and now there would need to be another body orbiting Mars to make any you've got to always have two radiuses to have a trochoidal pattern. But what he's trying to make you think is this thing is still rotating around this point. It's not. All it's doing is rotating around this center. These are just frozen now. See? And now he wants you to think that that was the same thing, but it's not. You've got one radius here, and you've got a concentric configuration. So there's only one motion. Okay, and so now the bullshit's going to get even thicker, because now they want you to think that what's happening is out here somewhere in the distance. Well, that's clearly not what's happening, because as you could see earlier, there are loops which happen when the planet is near to the center. Now, does the planet look like it's near to the center? No. I don't understand if they're actually, if they believe it, or they're just or they do it on purpose. I don't know, but how anybody could think that this has anything going on out here? What's that got to do with this and this? It doesn't have anything to do with it. The planet, when it makes a retrograde, is at perigee. And so they want you to think that what you're seeing is out there. How could what you're seeing be out there? That doesn't make any sense. But no, that isn't what happens. The loop always happens as the planet, as the second body nears the center. So retrogrades are real.